Last week was the primary election here in Minnesota. And as usual, the primary election doesn't have near the pizzazz that the general elections do in November. Here locally in Becker County, we had a 9.2% turnout. A little over 1,600 people cast ballots out of the over 17,000 people that were eligible to cast ballots. And in the state of Minnesota, that roughly 10% number stayed about the same, but varied depending on which districts had more extreme races. Now here in Becker County, we didn't have a lot of stuff to vote on in the primary. Now, of course, there was the U.S. Senate seat, which turned out the way people thought it would, with incumbent Amy Klobuchar easily winning the Democratic nod, and Kurt Bills, the DFL endorsed candidate, or excuse me, the GOP endorsed candidate, easily winning the Republican nod. When it came to our local congressional race, we have 3 candidates running, one a Democrat, one a Republican, and one independent. So for U.S. Congressional District 7, there was no need for the primary. Some of our neighbors, though, just to the east of us here in Detroit Lakes, those that live in Hubbard and Wadena County, were voting in the Congressional District 8 primary, which saw 3 Democrats running against each other. Locally in Detroit Lakes, there was really one race. That was for the Becker County Commissioner District 2 slot. This consists of wards 2 and 3 within the city of Detroit Lakes. It's the new County Commissioner's District created after redistricting due to the census in 2010 and shifts in population in the county. We have 3 candidates for that particular district. Only 2 of them could move on to the November ballot. The 2 that are moving on are Ben Grimsley and Craig Fontaine. Both of them captured over 100 votes. In fact, Grimsley won it with 160 votes in the primary, and Mr. Fontaine, Craig, was able to get about 117 votes if memory serves me. The odd man out was Mark Hagedorn, a longtime businessman here in Detroit Lakes and has worked with several city positions. He had 75 votes. He will not go on to the November ballot. Now, I had a tough time kind of thinking about that, because here's the issue. On paper, if you have them fill out the resumes, Mark Hagedorn seemed like maybe the best qualified candidate. However, when you talk to people on Main Street, I didn't see a single sign in town for Mark, nor did I talk to anybody personally that had him door knock at their home. It had me thinking, was Mr. Hagedorn really somebody who wanted to be on the Becker County Board of Commissions? And I think it's unfortunate, because I think he could have been a very, very good commissioner. Although part of me thinks maybe he didn't feel he needed a campaign because he was such a well-known person in town, and name recognition alone might carry him through to the November ballot. However, I think I'm happy, though, with people like Ben Grimsley and Craig Fontaine, who were on the street knocking on doors, who did in fact set up signs, and even though on paper they might not be as polished as Mr. Hagedorn was, I think they've shown they have the proper work ethic to get there once one of them is elected, because one of them will be that county rep. The other big race was in House 2B for the State House, which includes all of Becker County, with the exception of the very, very 3 southwestern townships and the city of Detroit Lakes. All the rest is in that. Steve Green easily won the Republican nomination, and he'll take on Bretta Saylor from Park Rapids. District 2B, again, one of the new districts made by redistricting. So that brings us to local races. Here in Detroit Lakes, we only have one race, Alderman at Large. Bruce Imholt and Rick Johnson have filed for that. The mayor is running unopposed, and 3 aldermen are running unopposed. And there at the county commissions level, you heard the primary race. We only actually have one other race, and all 5 commissioners were up. So if people are satisfied with the tax increases we've had in the last few years, then I think we're doing the right things here and just let the same people run again. Because we're not giving ourselves a lot of choices here in Becker County. And that might be the problem. It's going to be hard to complain when the fact is nobody had a choice to make in the first place.